Welcome everyone for the full moon video of August 11th and 12th, depending according where we live on Earth. It could be August 11 or August 12. So this full moon, where the moon is in Aquarius in a position, as usual, all full moon create an opposition between the moon and the sun. The sun is in Leo. It's an important one because this specific place where the sun is placed, if you remember well, and if you watched the previous video on the new moon in Leo, well, Mercury was exactly there and it was under the spotlight. It was the planet that we worked on the most. If you didn't watch this previous video, I suggest you to go and watch it. You'll understand better this present video. You don't have to, but it would give you more insight. So the sun is exactly at that spot where Mercury was, and it's actually holding this big square that you see formed with 4 red lines on the chart there on the zodiac. And that spot is important. Mercury did hold it in the previous new moon. This time the full moon, it's the sun that took that specific place, maintaining that really big square. Why is that so important? Because it's forming a big square, including the just one square, like one red line that you see there between Saturn and Uranus so Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus. And what is interesting is that specific square, that one red line there, we call that a square in astrology. Well, that one has been on for a really long time. In 2021, it was actually the main aspect of the whole year 2021. Now it's getting closer again. It's getting close again and active again. So it's actually finishing. We're getting close to completion of this work of that square. And when that unique red line, we call it a square, is included in a big square like this, thanks to the nodes, like the lunar nodes, and the sun and Mercury that were at that spot in Leo that you see on the chart, well, it shows us that this completion is happening now. So that's really big. So we had Mercury last time in the new moon. This time, the new moon of July 28th. So we had the work on Mercury in Leo. Now this time the sun is there. So we'll explain a little bit about the conjunction of Uranus and Mars in Taurus. Why do we go and work there instead of working on the sun in Leo? Since last time we worked on Mercury in Leo because it was there, because there are other aspects happening. Mars did progress a little bit, and it's now aspecting Pluto in Capricorn with a trine, and it's also forming a sextile with Neptune in Pisces. So you see that blue triangle in the zodiac. You see that blue triangle? So that is also aspecting Mars. And these are the two main configurations, that blue triangle and the big red square. And the point that is common to both configurations is Mars and Uranus and North Node in Taurus. That's why that's where we'll be working, and that's what we'll be opening the most in this video. Just explaining this so you see the logic behind all this. Okay, so now, as I said, Saturn and Uranus are in square since quite a while, 2021. This time, in this huge big configuration, we have Mars in addition that came exactly there. So what is being worked on the most is actually Mars. We see it from what we explained already. And this Mars now has to change something big. That's what we've been saying all the time with this square of Saturn and Uranus. And we went through a lot of change already. But now this is serious, and it's time that it really happens. And what type of things could change? Because we say this, but it's never really clear. Many people say, oh, there's change happening and all this. But the reality, what should we be expecting? What we should be expecting are realities concerning the age of Aquarius. which we're entering now, and Saturn being in Aquarius, making those squares to Uranus and Taurus, well, it means it's those Aquarian ideas that needs to be lived, needs to be received, needs to be worked with more on Earth. So we're slowly receiving those Age of Aquarius ideas. We're slowly receiving them, working with them, processing them as much as we can. And what we are noticing on Earth, in our beautiful society, well, are forces of Aquarius that are pushing. They're pushing us in ways that are not very comfortable. And what is demanded what is asked from us is to make some changes with our will, with our actions. And one of those, I'll say one of them because we have to describe as much as possible. So I'll mention one. Think about democracy. Democracy did great. We had, or we still have for some people, the feeling, the comforting feeling that democracy is making things stable. We live somehow in a peaceful world. Of course, there are wars, there are conflicts, etc. There's a few things like COVID and stuff, but basically, we live with few big problems, like in our daily lives. We know we have big problems. We know there's environmental crisis ahead of us. There's big problems and all this. We know this, but in fact, in our daily life, we know we're going to be most probably eating tomorrow, right? We'll be able to live tomorrow kind of easily for most people. Not everybody, and there are countries where it's really hard, and in every country there are people struggling and everything, and that's for sure. But we don't have like crazy terrible concerns for most people. Of course, there's war happening, but it's not like a world war right now. Some peace has been created, and we live in that somehow illusion that this is stable. Not really. And democracy will evolve. With the Age of Aquarius, democracy will evolve. We know that our government forms are changing from time to time. And even though if we feel there's some kind of a global feeling that, we're kind of, it's good what is happening. There are very few young people that are really involved into politics and that wants to change the world like big time, and they give their life for politics, and this is rare. Not that long ago, our values, we would really defend them. Nowadays, there's this illusion of safety that is there, and there's some kind of a stagnation happening. The Age of Aquarius will change this in a good way, actually, believe it or not. And I know that we usually use our brain, our intellect, our mental forces very often to criticize. Very, very often. We criticize a lot, and we're not happy with what we have, and we're claiming things and stuff and all this. But that is not the best thing. That was actually the subject of the previous video on the new moon of July 28, how Mercury, representing our mental, our intellect, we have to change a few things there. So now the idea for this full moon would be to open up our mind a little bit and try to figure out and open up, at least trying to receive, to be receptive, trying to receive what the Age of Aquarius and what, the luminous beings of light, what heaven, or I don't know, God, the source, whatever you like to name it, a higher form of intelligence, what is it planning? What is it preparing for us in terms of government, in terms of evolution, which will be better than democracy? Something better. It's always improving. There's always evolution. And sometimes we think, oh, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Yes, on some aspects, but this special intelligence up there is taking care, of course, of nature, and we see it all the time. We see nature is so amazing. There's so much intelligence in nature, but we're a part of it. And that is our best intelligence, in fact. Very often we try to look at humans aside from nature and think, oh, we're intelligent. Nature is not really intelligent. Well, it's brilliant, but we can use our intelligence. Nature doesn't. We think that. Nature is not creative. We think that. We think nature is just, by default, it's like that. We think that nature is just like this. And yes, it's intelligent, but it's just like this. Us humans, we can change it, right? We think like this. It's put in our brain this way. But nature is changing things constantly, all the time. It's an intelligence that is creative, and it's bringing for us a new form of government. And it's nature doing it. It's not us. It's not our wonderful brain. We don't know yet what is being prepared. And when I say nature, I'm including luminous beings of light because they are part of nature as well. If we exclude, the angels or some intelligence out there, if we exclude it from nature, it's kind of weird. Think about it for a couple minutes. It's very weird. So those luminous beings of light, they're part of nature, and they are preparing some form of new governments for us. You see, it kind of makes sense. So our Mars is those habits. It's our will, how we use it. What are our habits in terms of governments here on Earth, humanity? How do we deal with democracy? And there's not only democracy on Earth, of course. There's a few other things out there, and big countries are involved in that. So you see, there's a lot of things, many things need to be moving, and they are actually shifting. We feel it. We feel it, what is happening in the States, in USA. We see it. People are divided. It's not clear yet. We see that democracy is very limited for the moment. It's not that joyful anymore. It's not that clear that it's the proper option. And the other option is not dictatorial, craziness. It's something else. We don't know what it is yet. Nature does. We don't. So that's why the moon in conjunction with Saturn has to be receptive to this. And our Mars has to be open to live differently. And we will live differently anyway, because nature is making us do so. Those intelligence of nature, those luminous beings, let's say, call it the way you want, but the intelligence of nature is making us change. Look at the behavior of people. It's changing. We see it with technology. Why is that happening? Something is happening, and there's some good in it. Of course, we always criticize what is happening. We say it's not good all the time. That's always what we hear. But there's good in this as well, and it's going to be figured out at some point. This full moon is there for us to be receptive to those good aspects. Stop criticizing for a while. We learned that through the last new moon of July 28. But now it's time to look at our behaviors, be receptive. Moon, Mars, both of them are involved really strongly in that big square. Have a look at this. It's just amazing. And the triangle, the blue triangle with Pluto and Neptune, is also including Uranus. So we have all three faraway planets of our solar system working together to bring notions, to bring ideas that come from way beyond what we think, way beyond what we know here on Earth. And this is the type of ideas that are descending on Earth now, specifically during this full moon of August 11th or 12th, depending on where we're in the world. So you see this very strong, very strong. And the most beautiful thing in all that is Venus. Look at Venus just entering Leo. The sign of Leo, it's at 0 degree there. It's the same day of the full moon is the entrance the entry of Venus in Leo. And that tells us, because Leo is so key, it's the sign with Mercury and the Sun that moved in Leo that created that big red square that we see in the zodiac during this full moon and also the last new moon. So Leo is key. Venus entering Leo, it shows us there will be a precious stone that will be given to us. And this is an image. It's like a precious idea, and behind an idea, there is intelligence. So there is some form of invisible life, of intelligence that is out there holding this idea from out there, you know, in the invisible world, let's say. So this exists, and we will receive, just like a precious stone, just like a precious stone collection that we create. It's an image of those ideas that we collect to slowly form this new governance that will be good, not a conspiracy theory thing. Of course this exists, of course there's manipulations, of course there's power issues on earth, tons of it. I'm not saying we have to be blind, you know, we have to ignore this. Of course it's filled with it. But the intelligence of nature is intelligent enough to be able to use this for the greater good. And that's where we have to be humble. That's where our mental has to stop criticizing. If we just keep criticizing and we say we'll never work, there's too much power issues and all this, well, it's our intellect that thinks that he's so intelligent that he notices all those problems and you think, oh, because I noticed the problem, it's the most important thing in the world. No, there are greater intelligent forms than us. And they know what they're doing and they are planning. We are not planning. Think about how a baby is formed in the womb of a mother. How much of this do we plan? A tiny little bit, not very much. Nature is doing all the rest, all the work. Imagine if we would have to make sure that the soul comes in the baby and that all cells develop well. This cell did not multiply well. Oh, I have to correct this every single second of the whole pregnancy process and all this. Forget it. We cannot do this. We don't have the intelligence to do that. Nature does. Same goes for this change of governance. So we have to be open. We have to observe our behavior and things will show up. And some kind of a precious stone, so a precious idea, a great luminous being will be giving us some kind of a gift during that period of time. This is shown by Venus entering Leo, just like this, in that specific context. So I hope you appreciate this video. If you do, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I will give more. I do all new moons and full moons. I do this in French. Usually I have a good size, let's say, a YouTube channel in French. I'm doing this because I have some requests in English, but the channel is super small. So if you want to help and make it grow, please share, comment, like, subscribe. All those things will help. So that would be really welcome, because as much as I like doing this, of course, everything takes a lot of time, make the video, edit it, upload it and all this. I'm just saying, if you like the content, please spread it as much as you can. That'll be much appreciated. So thank you very much for listening and for the work you do with what you received in this video. Thank you so much.